That's a very excellent way to put things. When you look at the historical implications, certain generational wealth and generational stability and the networks developed over generations compared to either perhaps an immigrant population or, we're not that far removed from even things like Jim Crow, as well as the atrocities committed to many of our indigenous brothers, sisters, siblings. The reality is it's not as cut and dry as, oh, you're brown and you have a funny sounding name like Romulo Vega, no, you can't work here. There's so much more to that. And I try to stay optimistic, and I have faith. I have optimism. Maybe part of it is growing up in a place like Kearney, Nebraska, which is, predominantly white. I do see that there's a lot of good, welcoming, neighborly intentions there. And maybe it's a Midwest thing, I don't know, where folks want to just, work hard, put an honest day's work, provide for your family. If your neighbor's in a jam, you'll help them out, But for whatever reason, there's that disconnect. And this is just me speaking from my perspective. There's a disconnect between a lot of our fellow Nebraskans who maybe are white and not as involved with the communities of color. There's a disconnect, and they are maybe only getting exposed to these communities through what they see on television or read in the news, and then they get these false misconceptions of what it is to be a person of color in Nebraska. I don't know, is there anything to that, or am I just venting?
No, I think that's definitely true. I feel like I grew up in Elkhorn, and so everyone was like, oh my God, if you go past like 140th, it's ghetto. And I feel like that's, when I heard that, I was so shocked. I didn't really process what they meant by that. And now I definitely do. And I'm embarrassed that I heard that. But I think a lot of people more in West Omaha don't really go outside of West Omaha. And so they don't really communicate with communities in North and South Omaha. And I think the media they focus more on negatives and chaos because that's what people like to watch. And so there's a lot of good things that happen in North and South Omaha, but it's not usually covered. So I do think they get this like perspective, and it's not always accurate of all people. And even with like the protests, and it came out to be like 99% of them were actually nonviolent. But media's like, windows breaking, buildings on fire. So then you're like, oh my gosh, these people are crazy, and it's not like that. That's something I really encourage people to do. And I even think I saw like this teacher quit her job, and she had gone to volunteer one time in like North or South Omaha, and she was shocked by what she saw, that she just ended up volunteering for them, and that's what she dedicates her life to now. So I think like people need to step outside of their bubble, and they need to feel uncomfortable and go talk to communities and really engage with them and learn their story. And that's the reason why I love people, is because I would look at myself, or I'd look at you, and I would never imagine what your life story is like, right? Like it could be anything. And I feel like people in West Omaha, or people who have never like spoken to people of color in their communities, should definitely do that. And I really encourage that to happen. So yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of power in proximity, in being close to one another, interacting with one another, working alongside one another. I think that is going to be one of the strongest ways to heal a lot of our divisiveness right now.